Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please type something in the chat box. Sorry about our technical difficulties this morning. Yes, you can see my screen. Okay, we are going to go ahead and get started. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the provider conference call. This is our first time flying solo technology-wise without Marcy, who's not in the office today. So thank you for bearing with us. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. This is Scott Stevenson, the Quality Initiatives Director. Thank you so much for joining us, as always, on this chilly but nice Tuesday. It's nice to be able to put your windows down in the car and up at the house. So we're going to go ahead and do introductions around the table here at the Coalition. Again, this is Scott Stevenson, Quality Initiatives Director.
Patricia Sims, Chief Operations Officer.
Liliana Howard, Professional Development for Quality Department.
Laura Gartner, Provider Relations. Mary Brewster, Provider Relations.
Elizabeth Diola, Chief Program Officer.
Deanna Johnson, Chief Finance Officer.
And Roseanne will be in and out, and she's our CEO.
Always a privilege.
So we'll go ahead and just jump right into the agenda this afternoon. It's not a big agenda today, but some very important things and some things I know providers are going to be excited about. So the first item on our agenda is Elizabeth's going to talk about emergency closures.
Yes, as you all know, last week we experienced something a little, well, we haven't experienced it in a whole year, but something not COVID related for once. We had Hurricane Eta, well, Tropical Storm Eta passed, through our area. And when the public school system decided to close due to the high winds and the possibility of not being able to have buses on the street, the schools closed, and so did most of you. So I'd like to thank you all for being so on top of sending me your closure notices. And please remind you that if you closed last Thursday and you have not sent me an email saying that you were closed and that you reopened on Friday due to Hurricane or Tropical Storm Eta, please go ahead and send that over to me. That is how we're going to enter the emergency closure into your calendars for your attendance roster. So we want to make sure that we have everybody accounted for if you did close and then reopen. Now, I want to add one more piece to that for VPK. If you closed your VPK classroom, which most of you, if you closed your school readiness, you also closed VPK. If you are wanting to make that day up, you need to go ahead and do a calendar adjustment. Okay, you need to go into your VPK application. You need to click edit on your calendar, and you need to decide which day you're going to use as your makeup day. You'll want to do that sooner rather than later if you are choosing to make that day up, so that our team, Mary and Javora, can go in and certify your application so that you can submit your attendance roster when the time comes. So let me stop for a second and see if we have any questions. We do have some providers that did stay open, and we thank you for that. The Coalition office, we did close for the day just out of security for not knowing what was going to happen and having our staff travel into the office. So we did close, and oddly enough, that we had quite a few of our management team were in here that day working, so you probably saw emails coming back and forth from a lot of us. I don't see any other questions. So let me just add to that for our VPK providers. If you chose to close, you only are required to make it up if you have closed for a total of 5 days so far since you opened your program in August or September. Now, majority of you have not experienced that closure, but so you wouldn't have to make it up, basically, is what I'm saying. So. Since we don't have any other questions about the emergency closure piece, let me talk to you really quickly about COVID-19. You're probably noticing a lot in the news about COVID-19. The health department is being very vigilant about reminding people that it is still out there. And not only is it still out there, but it's back with a vengeance. and our positivity rates in Marion County have increased just over the past 2 weeks to 7.37%. We were doing really good with less than 5% for a while there. Now we're back. And with that being said, there's also a new trend with the coronavirus that we want to make you very aware of so that you can take precautions. And that would be that the health department issued a statement showing that there's a shift in where the coronavirus positivity is occurring. And it's an increase. It's shifting from people getting it from their family and friends to now it being in the workplace. Roseanne, do you want to add anything to that?
No, we heard from Mark Lander this morning, our Department of Health Administrator. He said it's super important. Anybody who doesn't feel well at all, stay home. Don't go to work. Keep checking the temperatures, even though it's an inconvenience and everything else, because the more that we get groups of us together in workplaces, the more opportunity we will have of sharing this. The only way that we're going to cut it down and get this positivity rate lower to make sure that people stay home when they don't feel good. So we just encourage you to be real careful with your staff and keep up all of your best practices for keeping COVID out of your businesses.
And just to add to that, I know a lot of you have been contacted by any number of our quality team or Susan Dewey about picking up your cribs and your scanners. We also have the availability of providing you with paper towels and limited supply of cleaning products that we do have on hand, such as we have some gloves, we have some antibacterial cleaning. So like the pledge spray that is antibacterial.
Some hand sanitizer, some paper towels.
Yes.
About toilet paper. We have the regular cloth masks as well.
Yes, and we are getting ready to do our big kickoff with the clear masks. So those of you that have been waiting to get your clear masks, December 10th, we're going to hold a big kickoff event with some of our local legislators that will be supporting us in a very small gathering to present the clear masks to our child care providers, because we and they appreciate all that you're doing to keep safe and to maintain your quality and to continue serving our children. So more to come about that. If you need cleaning supplies, we will definitely reach out to quality at elc-marion.org, and we can get Susan to put a set together as long as we have them available. I'm going to pause. Somebody asked when the cribs will be available for pickup. If you sent an email to quality at elc-marion.org, we have you on the list, and Susan is making arrangements and calling each provider individually to make arrangements to come pick up crib or scanner plus cleaning supplies. So you can send that email out today and we'll get you scheduled to come pick up. Most of our pickups are on Tuesdays or Thursdays. That's when the office is already open to the public, so it's really easy for you to walk in and grab your stuff. We might be able to accommodate your schedule though if you need, and we have had our quality team, as they're coming out to do class observations, bringing these materials out with them as well. So if we're coming out to see you anyway, we can make it a one-stop shop.
I just wanted to add to that. As we're distributing these supplies, we are keeping inventory, and I can say right now I think we have just over 25 scanners left and almost 50 cribs. So as Elizabeth said, if you've sent us an email, then you're on our list for us to call you and schedule that time and day to come pick it up. If you have not reached out to us through email and told us which one you prefer, please go ahead and do that. We do want to get these supplies distributed as quickly as possible, and our list is a bit surprising. We don't have as many providers on the list as we thought we would. So again, if you need a crib or a scanner, just send us an email at the quality address that Elizabeth mentioned.
I'll send it. I'm going to post it into the questions box for everybody so that you have it. Go ahead.
But as she said, Susan is in the process right now. She started last week. Today was the first day I think providers came to the coalition to pick up their supplies. So it's in the works as we speak. So if you're in need of this stuff, just know that we're doing it now, and we should be able to get it to you here in the next week or two at the most.
So I just put that, you're very welcome for the supplies. We got to thank you, everybody, for the supplies. And another thank you just for being us. So you're welcome. We'll continue to be us as long as you continue to be you. So I just posted, it's quality@elc.marion.org, and put your site name in, and if you'd like a crib or scanner. And remember, if you want to give us a success story, we just had a provider ask about that. If you'd like to send a success story in, preferably with a picture so that we can brag about your site, please do so, and then you'll be eligible to receive both the crib and the scanner. Okay? I think for the emergency closures and COVID, that's all I have. And you want to talk about phase 4?
Yes. So it's a good segue. We're doing all this with supplies. If you're a provider, you did not read that on the agenda incorrectly. It does say phase 4 mini grant. A lot of you, when I spoke to you about previous grants, have asked me, hey, is there additional funding? Are there additional grants coming out? And at the time, we just weren't sure. We didn't know. But late last week, we did get verification that there is a phase 4 mini grant. So the paperwork and documentation for that, I just emailed it about an hour ago, just over an hour ago. So everybody should have that. As the mini grants have gone on, they've kind of got simpler and simpler, and this one is very simple. It is available to contracted or non-contracted providers. Okay, and really the main criteria, the main point of eligibility for this grant is that you had to have been open on October 15th, and then you need to be open and providing early learning services at the time of submitting your application. And then, of course, when you submit your application, you'll be asked to put in a plan for your budget based on the allocation award amount that you'll be getting. So part of the documents I sent an hour ago, there's a form that shows the allocations.
I'll pull it up.
And
this is all attached also in your handout section. So
yes.
The allocations are up on your screen right now.
Perfect. And the ones that you'll want to pay attention to are the yellow ones there. So this is a spreadsheet that OEL provided to us really based on statewide providers. So that's why the numbers are, so high with the providers. But if you are a school readiness or VPK contracted provider, your award amount is based, as it has been in the past, on your DCF capacity range. So if you see there the 0 through 12, if your capacity is 0 through 12, you get $500. Going down to 150 plus, you get $3,250. So it's also available to public school providers, but instead of being based on your capacity range, it's based on the amount of children you are currently serving. The award amounts, as you can see, are the same, but just wanted to point out that difference. Instead of capacity, it's based on children served. So if you're a non-contracted provider joining us today, there are a few more additional requirements for you all. I won't go over all of those right now. There's about 6 of them, and it is in the paperwork that I attached. If you need that paperwork, because some of the non-contracted providers might not have received it, so if you will reach out to me, I will be more than happy to get you that paperwork. My email address is sstevenson@elc-marion.org.
And I'll put that in the chat box too. So the phase 4 applications, which are attached to this, are going to be mailed directly to you? So.
Yes. Please send those to me. Please, for this, we have limited staff here in our quality department, so to make things easier and streamlined and less confusing for us, when you do submit those, please send those directly to me and my email address.
And I'm putting it is in the chat box right now so that you all can see. It's the same place you have sent your previous, I believe, application.
I think so, yeah.
Yes. And we do have one question. The question is, we have one provider that's already done. You win a prize, by the way.
So,
one question that we do have, though, is will providers only submit an application for Phase 4 CARES funding to their home coalition? That's a great question.
yes, and the answer to that is yes. Also, we were told, if you receive funding through Phase 1, 2, or 3, you are still eligible to receive funding through Phase 4.
Yay.
And the deadline to receive your application is going to be December 4th, which is a Friday. So that leaves you the rest of this week, next week, and then the following week.
So we do have a couple of questions. We have one provider asking, when do we find out about funds from the other phases? I feel like we're going to need to reach out to you individually because that's all been distributed. If you applied for it and were eligible, we have distributed those funds. So I'm going to pass your name over to Scott and Deanna to get in touch with you. And then we had another question asking, can we please explain the funding distribution again? If you look up on your screen, I have kept it up because the application is in your handout section. On your screen is the funding allocation. So it goes by your capacity range and the children you serve and what type of provider you are. So private, contracted, non-contracted, VPK, or school readiness public providers. So you can see that breakdown based on what your capacity is on your licensed entity, or if you're licensed exempt, your accrediting agent. So you can see those breakdowns. Mm-hmm. Did I summarize what you said?
I think
okay?
So. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, just looking at your screen, if your DCF license capacity is say 25, and you meet all the eligibility requirements in the application, your grant amount would be $1,750.
So let's pause and see if we have any other questions that we can answer real quick about that. So this is exciting. One provider said, is this $500 per child or per center? That would be the grant allocation. So it would be $500 per center. Okay, we do not have any other questions. So we can go carry on with our agenda. We do have Richard and Avita on. Would you all, I'm going to unmute you in case you would like to give an update from DCF. Give me just a second. I'm a little slow when I'm trying to multitask. I'm horrible at it. Okay, and Richard, it looks like you are self-muted if you want to say anything.
How about now? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, everyone. Yeah, I do have a couple of updates. One is that we are extending the deadline for the completion of the competency exams. That was going to end in November. They've extended it now out to January 31st, 2021. And in addition to that, they've also extended the completion of the online courses for 45 days out to January 28th. I'm not sure what they're extended, but it says for those students who are enrolled in online classes as of January 28th, 2020 and later, they will be allowed additional time to complete the course. The course will remain open through March 31st, 2021, so that students may review the material prior to taking the competency exam. So both those have been extended. Also, hopefully providers have received a mass email from Tallahassee, but we have started a new fee and fine collection process. And now providers are going to be responsible for sending their monies to directly to Tallahassee. So they should have started seeing beginning in November when they received their 90-day letter. there should also be an invoice attached to that with directions on how and where to send their monies to. So they will no longer be sending their checks directly to the counselors or to their local office. And I don't know if Evita had anything to add to that.
Let me unmute her. Okay, give me just a second. And Evita, you are unmuted. Want to add anything?
Thank you. Hello, everybody. No, I don't have anything new. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm looking to see, I do, Richard, have a question for you.
Sure.
Are they doing health and safety inspections because of COVID? That's a question from a provider.
Yeah, we are still doing those. Right now, we're doing the renewal inspections are being done face-to-face. And, you know, facilities, they get 2 routine inspections a year as well as a renewal. One of those routines is going to be where it's like a desk review where the provider has to send the required documentation to the counselor. And we're doing one face-to-face routine a year as well too. Now that may change depending on what COVID does as it gets colder. But right now, so we're doing actually 2 face-to-face inspections a year and 1 desk review. And that kind of helps mitigate our counselors from being exposed out in the field.
Thank you. I don't see any other questions. If you have a question for Richard or Evita with DCF, go ahead and put it into the chat box or raise your hand and I will unmute you.
Okay. Thanks, Elizabeth.
All right. Thank you, Richard. We appreciate you being on.
No problem.
All right. Can I carry on with our agenda?
Sure. All right, so next part of our agenda is school readiness and VPK updates. The first part says contract amendments. Now that's for our school readiness providers only. So earlier this week, I went in the EFS mod and I initiated over 40 contract amendments. So the reason for the contract amendment, see if I can explain this easily, is back in June, or excuse me, earlier this year, everybody created a new 2021 provider profile in the system. Well, we also extended your 1920 contract at the end of June. So the amendment was done to capture the new information that you put into your 2021 profile into your 1920 contract. So we did this for those people who did not yet, who have not yet received their class observation. So in order to retrieve this, it's just like a contract. It would need your signature, a provider signature, and then the coalition signature after that. So I actually spoke to a provider earlier today and we walked through this. So to retrieve this contract amendment, you would log into your profile, go in under contracts, and then when you see and you're viewing your contracts, there's going to be a blue button to the left with a plus sign. If you click that plus sign, it'll have a drop down and you'll see your contract amendment there and it'll say initiated. So I'm going to send out further guidance, maybe with some screenshots so you can see that. But again, you go to your contracts, click on the little blue plus button. It'll drop down to show your contract amendments. And then you would click on the edit your amendment, just like you would do a contract if we were initiating contracts. So because the system captures all this information, really all we need you to do is to go in and sign these amendments. It's not like we're picking out certain providers to do this for. It was kind of across the board thing. I need those done, though, as soon as possible. Again, there was about 40 to 45 of them done. Those need to be signed and completed prior to me initiating your 2021 contract. So, as you know, we also can't initiate your 2021 contract until we do your class observation. So this is kind of part one. We need you to go in and sign your contract amendments. And then once we complete your class observation, we can initiate your new contract.
All right, I'm looking to see if there's any questions. So far, there are none.
Okay.
I do want to talk about something really quickly that's not on your agenda today before you guys talk about the class, though. Ages and Stages questionnaires, as you all know, it is required that you all do the Ages and Stages questionnaire screenings for all of your school readiness children ages birth through 5 years old. Those screenings are due initially within 45 days of initial enrollment and annually within the month of the child's birth. Now, we've talked about this on previous calls, so I just wanted to clarify when it is, when the due dates are. This is a reminder to all of our child care providers that are contracted with us. This is a contract requirement. So if those are not done timely, we do have to enter into a corrective action agreement with you, and we do have to work with you to get those done timely. If you have any questions or if you need help getting your screenings completed on time, please reach out to our quality team. You can do it through email at quality@elc-marion.org. You can send us a phone call, make a phone call. Now, right now, a lot of our team is in and out of the office because, as you know, they're at your sites doing class observations. So you're seeing their lovely masked faces on site with you. So please be patient with us so we can return your call timely, but we will definitely try to help you through getting these screenings completed. If you receive a corrective action letter, it is really important that you respond right away. So we will help you with that. So now I'm looking for questions. We have a question going back to the mini grant, Scott. It says, to be clear, in the mini grant, are the funds $2,500 for SR and $2,500 if you also do VPK? I'm going to pull up the form again so we can look at that. So now on your screen.
Okay, the answer to that is no, it's not a grant amount per program. It's just one grant amount per site.
Okay. Let's see, there was another question I believe that popped up. And it is a request. There's a request for Scott to reach out to you. So yes, we will have Scott reach out to a provider to adjust your contract amendment. Okay. Let me pull your agenda back up since we've covered all of our questions so we can keep going.
So next on the agenda is we have class observations. Right now, many of you, if you haven't already, will be receiving your class observation. It's that time of year, and we just thought it would be a good time to kind of go over some of the contractual thresholds and the scoring of the class observations. And to do that, Lily Howard in our quality department is going to go into some more detail for you.
Can you hear me? Or do I need to speak a little louder?
I think they can hear you.
Okay. So class observations are a part of a program assessment, which is also part of your contract when you're in program assessment. And I'm going to try to keep this as simple as possible and leave plenty of time for questions. In order to contract for this year, you must have at least a 3.5 class composite score. That means that once your score is received, whether you have 3 classrooms that were observed or you're a family home child care provider and you had 1 just your one class observed, your score must be 3.5 once it's all accumulated in order to be able to contract with the Early Learning Coalition of Marion County. If you get a 3.5 to a 3.99, it automatically puts you on a quality improvement plan. This means that we are going to work with you to bring you to the quality threshold of 4.0 or higher. 4.0 is the quality threshold that allows you to earn a differential of 4%. So from 4.0 to 4.99, you get a differential of 4%. If you get 5 to 5.99, you get a differential of 7%. If you get a 6 to a 6.99, you get a differential of 10%. If you get a composite score of 5 or higher, congratulations, you just became biannual. That means that we don't have to come out until the year 2022, the spring, to be specifically speaking. So at this time, I'm going to stop and see if you have any questions.
There are no questions yet, but just so you know, the differential means that you get more money. So this has been a long time coming. For a lot of years, we have tried to reward providers for their quality service financially to allow you a little more freedom within your business and to thank you for continuing to offer quality services. And this is that thank you for offering quality services. So the differential is additional money in your check for school readiness services when you get a higher score on your class screening. So let me see.
And as Lily mentioned, if you get over a 5.0, that does make you biennial. So what that means is, for example, we just had a provider in October who scored a 5.05. So what that means is that score is going to be applied for their 2021 contract as well as their 21-22 contract. So that means they won't require another class observation until we need it for their 22-23 contract.
That's
Which
a lot of 20.
It is. But basically what it comes down to is they have 2 years before they'll have to get their next class observation.
We do have one question. Are class observations scheduled?
They are scheduled. We will call you and do a registration through the Quality Performance System. That's qps.floridaearlylearning.com. And once we do the registration, we set up a 2-week window in which time, somewhere between that 2-week window, we will come and do your class observation. If Children's Forum is given your site to do a class observation, they will do the same. They will call you up and set up a 2-week window. You do have the option as a provider to decline 3 days within that 2-week window. For instance, if you have a Christmas party, we got the holidays happening, you can say this would be a bad day to do a class observation, please don't come on this day. You have 3 of those, they are allowed.
Okay, I don't see any more questions.
Also, I'd like to encourage you to, you can also refer to the rule 6M-4.740 as well as 6M-4.741 and the Program Assessment Handbook. Now, the Program Assessment Handbook in 6M-4.740 is being revised at this time, but as it stands from what we have, that's what we're going by.
Okay, so we do have one more question that came in. For clarification, we need a 3.5 or above to contract, but under 4.0, we will be in a QIP.
That is correct. That's a quality improvement plan. And the requirements will be based off of your site's needs, what we can provide to meet the strategies that meet your needs.
Class score differential takes effect when?
Go ahead, Scott.
That's okay. As soon as we come out to do your observation and we get your score, when I initiate your contract with that score, if I'm not mistaken, it would be the pay period following the initiation of your contract.
Yeah.
So I enter your composite score into your contract along with the differential that you'll receive from that score. So once that's been signed and your contract has been certified, then moving forward, you would receive that differential.
And then we had another follow-up question from the three. Okay, so when we clarified that under a 4 you would be in a QIP, they're asking is that for the 2021 or 2021-22 contract, or is that now?
That would be for, did I know? That would be for the 2020-21 contract year that you will be on the quality improvement plan. If you're in the position where your school readiness contract is in an extension and you get a score below 4.0, between 3.5 and 4.0, that's going to put you on a quality improvement plan for that year.
Right, so the observations we're doing now are for folks who have an extended 1920 contract, and we're doing these observations for your 2021 contract.
As well, yeah.
So if you score below the 4.0, then you would receive a quality improvement plan.
Okay, so there is, I'd like to add to that too. If you are an out-of-county provider, please check with your home coalition to make sure that they are following the same thing. There's not any additional anything that they are doing differently. So I just want to put that out there. The other piece of that is, okay, so somebody asked, what are the scores needed for 21-22?
So that would be a 4.0 quality threshold for contract.
So minimum of a 4.0.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to raise by half of a point every year until we get to
5. The goal is 5. Everybody be biannual.
And you know, to be truthful, we have quite a few providers that are really on the cusp of getting to that biannual observation schedule. So that's fantastic. Keep doing what you're doing. Another question we have, how soon can we get our contract certified after our observation? So basically, how long does it take?
We try to get to you as soon as possible. Once we get the class observation done, we want to go ahead and get your new 2021 contract initiated.
If I may, it takes we have up to 72 hours to get the documentation put into Wells and 14 days to notify you of your composite score. So Scott's been really good about, as soon as we get the composite score, contacting you guys, but it's going to be at least 3 business days before we have a composite score for you. Just keep that in mind.
But the turnaround time to get your contract done after an observation is really as soon as possible.
Yeah, well, we are under the requirement of that 72 hours and that 14-day window. We do try to do it a little bit quicker than that. Let's see. This is a hot topic. We got lots of questions.
I'm ready.
Let's see. So somebody just said, did I hear that we're able to schedule our observations? Usually someone just shows up unannounced. There is that window, just to reiterate that, there's a window.
2-week window. We schedule a 2-week window, but you don't get to know when in that 2-week window we're coming. So no, you don't get to actually schedule the actual appearance.
You get to identify if there's a day within that 2 weeks that maybe you have a field trip scheduled or something like that. You can tell us, like, this is not a good day for me. And up to how many days?
3 days.
And this is for only school readiness providers, by the way. So our VPK providers do not get class observations at this time. If you wanted your site to be observed through class, there would be a cost to do that, but we can certainly look into it if you're interested in seeing where your site stands in the quality standard when it comes to class observations. And that is all the questions for that.
Okay. All right, so next on our agenda is the VPK Progress Monitoring Pilot Update. So if you remember, we've spoken about this one the past couple times on our call, and the deadline to get your application in was last Wednesday, the 11th. And again, this was for the Fiddler's Assessment, the tool that VPK providers would be using. Really, we just threw this on the agenda to kind of let you know where that stands, that whole process is. So after the deadline last Wednesday, the coalitions were all asked to go in and review to ensure that none of the folks who applied for this had any Class 1 violations. And we were to have that done by last Friday. We did do it, so really the next step is you should be hearing something from OEL. We do know that unfortunately not every single provider that applied for it may be granted or be able to do this project, this pilot, and that's just solely based on the amount of funding that's available for the pilot project. But again, you should be hearing something next from OEL.
Yes, and I got to pause us for a second and back up. We have one more question regarding class, and I think we know the answer to this. What happens if the teacher is out due to illness the day the observer shows up? We have definitely been through this scenario before.
Mm-hmm.
So Lily, what happens?
So if that teacher has an assistant teacher, and that the assistant teacher is in the quality performance system, then we're able to continue with the class observation. If we don't have anybody at all that is in the quality performance system and scheduled as staff in that classroom, then we have to redo that observation and wait until the teacher comes back.
And there's a time frame when you put a new teacher in a classroom. They have to be
30 days.
30 days before we can schedule, because the whole thing is not to set up the providers, you all, for failure. We want to make sure that the teachers and the children have a good connection. We want to make sure that there is that relationship already formed, so that we're not walking in, you know, and your teacher is just like frozen because she's only seen these kids for 2 days. She doesn't know anything about them. She or he doesn't know anything about them. And so we're trying to really be diligent about being fair with this too. And just as a side note, a little pro tip over here, for your teachers, when we're coming out to do observations, just tell them to talk to the kids. Don't stop talking. Interact with those kids, and the observations are going to be so much more in depth, and just continue to talk with your kids. And that's one of the biggest interaction pieces with class. So we get a lot of questions from time to time about how to, you know, train us on how to work this class observation. And
I would encourage you to also revisit the class presentation that was done during the provider meeting on October 20th, and it's recorded on YouTube. That is geared towards your teachers and helping them become more comfortable when they have a stranger in the classroom and be prepared for that.
That was fantastic, and a lot of you asked for that to be out, so it is now published on our YouTube page. So feel free to use it during your provider or your staff meetings. I say provider meeting because that's what this is. We're always in our provider meetings. I love it. Anything else about the pilot?
No, I don't think so.
I just want to share something that happened today then. Thank you. Today we were successful in scheduling a VPK Roundup. You know, we've been talking a lot about increasing the enrollment for VPK. A lot of you have decided to do a January class starting up, so we will be holding a VPK Roundup. It will be in the Forest Community Center because that's one of the areas that doesn't get a lot of attention in our community. So we're going to be holding that on December 12th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. More details to come on that. If you are one of those providers that is deciding to offer a January class and you would like a vendor table there to meet any parents that come to this roundup, let me know. Reach out to me, ediola@elc-marion.org, and we can work on something, whether it be a advertisement board where you can put pictures up and kind of do a little mini billboard that we can display at the roundup. The purpose of this is to enroll kids and to get the COEs started for parents kind of in this remote area. A lot of the parents that live in that area travel into town to drop their kids off for VPK or school readiness or just childcare in general. And then we also have a childcare facility out there that offers VPK along with our public school system out there. So we are going to try to do our best to recruit additional VPK enrollments. And that will be December 12th, again, out at the Forest Community Center. More to come on that. That was just finalized today, this morning. So again, if you're offering a January class, now is the time to update your calendar and to make sure that it's being offered. We're doing a separate listing of VPK providers for the January site, so that a parent doesn't have to search through our entire 25-page listing in order to find the classes that are starting in January. We anticipate there'll be quite a few parents that will enroll in January. So if you're thinking about it, go ahead, take the nesty plunge. Let's do it. We will help you through it. And then the other thing is, Roseanne just finished, along with Sienna, our inclusion specialist, writing an article for Family Times Magazine that will come out in December, their December-January issue, that is really highlighting the things that you all are doing to keep children safe when they're coming back to your site, and really trying to let parents know how they can safely re-enroll their kids so that they can return to work, and so that they can safely start to come back to a typical life, whatever that is these days. So that is coming out too. So we thank you for everything that you all have been doing to get your enrollments up, and we are definitely on your side and trying to do what we can do to just support that. Anybody want to add to that in here? No? No. Latricia wants to talk real quickly about her VPK, or no, I'm gonna let her tell you what she wants to talk about.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we like to keep everyone informed of any new updates or anything that is happening. We know back in May, when the COVID pandemic began, the Department of Education and the Office of Early Learning suspended contract monitoring for SR and VPK. That suspension expired in June. So just to let everyone be aware, the coalition will begin monitoring for SR and VPK. Our process is going to change. We just received guidance yesterday from the Office of Early Learning of what their expectation is for monitoring. So there will be some desk reviews as well as some on-site visits. And if you are a SR VPK provider, we will be conducting both SR and VPK monitorings at the same time.
Let's pause and see if there's any questions about that. Nothing so far. Okay. All right. So do we want to move on with professional development?
Yeah. So next on the agenda is Lily, and she's just going to go over a couple of our upcoming professional development opportunities.
Okay, so as of about 10-ish, when I checked on our website, that's clc-marion.org, we had 2 spots left for our CPR class that'll be held on December 12th. The next available will be January 9th. And the TS Gold, for those of you who are doing TS Gold and have brand new teachers, I'm happy to tell you that we're going to have an intro to training class for you for TS Gold. It's going to be virtual. It'll be December 12th. It is already on the professional development portion of our website, available to register. There's only 20 spots.
How much does it cost?
It costs nothing.
Free.
It's free. It's absolutely free. And it's from 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. and you can do it from the comfort of your home. Although
you don't even have to wear pants.
Yeah,
although it's encouraged.
And I don't want to know. And I don't want to. Yeah.
But you know, these virtual trainings, there are benefits to them.
Yeah. So feel free to sign up for that.
And can I add something to that, Lily? While we're on that, everybody that's signing up for that, so this is like really, we did these intro to TS Gold during 2019, 2020, pre-pandemic. We've done another virtual option for this, a different course through TS Gold. They're really great to introduce you to the TS Gold program and how to assess a child through this. It's voluntary, of course, but we are actually, this is being brought to you through preschool development grant funding. And what that means is that we get to buy extra goodies that we wouldn't normally be able to buy for those participants. So there will be a TS Gold guidebook and a couple of other really great supportive tools for anybody that's participating in this. And also, just as a side note, if you participated in the Ron Schwally training series, we are still working on getting your goodies out to you. So please remain patient. I appreciate your patience with that. It's a little different with everything with the virtual stuff, but we do appreciate everybody that's participating in the virtual training series, and we'll continue to look at opportunities for you there. We heard time to sign is fantastic. So.
I know at least one provider who's participating in the TS Gold Child Assessment Program who will be very happy to hear about the TS Gold Intro Training.
Yeah,
I hope she's listening.
If not, please share with your staff that this option is available, and we'll keep bringing these to you. And MMCI is going well. So.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I know people keep asking me, when are you going to do pre-K? Okay, so pre-K is up and coming. We're hoping that I can get pre-K done after the first year, but I got to finish infant toddler first, guys. And infant toddler finishes in February. And once I get infant toddler done, then I can start looking towards pre-K. I wish I could duplicate myself, but there's no one of me.
Yes, in order to bring these trainings to you, we do have to have certified trainers. So Lily is our certified trainer right now. So only one of her at the moment.
Thank God.
We'll apply for a grant for training. We do have a couple questions going back to class observations and then something for you, Ms. Patricia. Actually, both of these are about the monitorings. Are those monitorings in addition to the class observations?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You got a resounding yes. These are your contract monitoring. So while class gives you your program, yeah, go ahead, Lily.
So the difference between your SR monitor and your class observations is looking at the quality of your program by the means of the interactions in the classroom between teachers and students and students and students. Whereas SR monitoring goes into the nitty-gritty, all the paperwork, anything that has to do with your contract. If you want to know what you're going to be monitored on, go take a good look at your contract word for word. That is an example of what an SR monitor is.
We hope you've done that already.
Can I chime in?
Go ahead, Mary.
When you receive emails from me asking for something to be corrected on your insurance or something corrected on your license, that's part of the monitoring.
Because we also have internal monitoring done when you all complete your profiles, and our team works really hard to try to decrease any errors that are in there. And then the second question that we have is for you, Latricia. With the desk review portion, will they be notified?
Yes. We are currently modifying our procedures right now as we speak on that process, but we intend to send out a letter to the providers and provide 5 days for you to provide the documentation needed for the desk review, and then we will schedule possibly a visit thereafter to complete the on-site visit.
And of course, this is a new process for us, so we'll be, we can share the procedure with you as we have it updated so that you can kind of read how we're going to do this, because it will be the same for all of you that receive this monitoring. See.
Any more
We
questions?
got just one comment that says, "I'm happy, thank you." So we love that you're happy.
So to finish off our agenda, Deanna, our CFO, just wanted to touch base and speak briefly on October payments.
So we have finished the October payment processing. So if you want to go to your reimbursement detail reports, they are available to you. The payment schedule for this month is that school readiness will be released and you will get paid for school readiness this Friday. Normally it's on the 21st. You see that the 21st falls on Saturday. So you'll get paid on the 20th instead. The Ess bonuses, for those of you who still qualify, those will be released and you'll receive those in your checking accounts on Friday, November 27th. And then Vpk will be released and you'll have that available to you on Monday, November 30th.
All right, so I am going to type this into the chat box as I ask Dana to say those dates one more time for everybody who needs them. So school readiness is going to be Friday, November 20th. And
ESS
bonuses will be
Friday, November 27th.
November 27th. If I have a typo, I'm sorry. I'm doing the super fast. And then VPK.
Monday, November 30th.
She did that without her notes in front of her, folks. Monday, November 20th.
30th.
Look at that. I have her notes in front of me, and I still got it wrong. Okay. This is why I stay in program. We do have one more question about monitoring. I believe it's about monitoring. Feel free to add to your question if you want to. But the question is, what about when we have to wait to receive information from an outside source? Hopefully, you'll have all the information you need at your fingertips. I'm not sure what an outside source would have of yours that would be connected to your school readiness contract, but if you are contracting with somebody like workers' comp, that was the additional piece. You know what, if you're worried about not having that, go ahead and request that workers' comp certificate. We should already have it on your profile though. So if you are worried about any of those things, if you do work with an outside entity, then feel free to collect those documents, which we should have in your profile to begin with. I don't see anything else so far. I hope that answered your question.
So thank you everyone for joining us. Our next provider meeting will be on Tuesday, December the 1st. And it was mentioned earlier, but just a reminder, to access any of these provider meetings, go to our YouTube channel, Early Learning Coalition of Marion County, and you can find all of our provider meetings taped there.
I wish we should have like an outtakes reel, because that would be funny. But you can hear all of our beautiful voices on there. And oh, thank you. You're a rock star too. So one of our providers just said, thanks for all you do. You are rock stars. And happy Thanksgiving to you as well, providers. And do you want to talk about, we have a guest speaker, our next meeting. Go ahead, I can talk it. December 1st is our next provider meeting, and it is going to be taken over by WUCF, say that 5 times fast, and the Sesame Street in the Community initiative that's coming out. Yes, I said Sesame Street. I'm so excited. I hope you are too, but I hope you'll take the time to join us. It's going to be a super short coalition staff meeting, meaning that we're going to have about 15 minutes to tell you coalition business and to answer any questions you might have at that time. And then our meeting is going to be taken over by WUCF and the Sesame Street in the Community. So you can learn all about that. And then we have one last question. Is it too late to turn in paperwork for reimbursement for curriculum? No, it's not. You can go ahead and submit that to quality@elc-marion.org. And we love you too. We're getting lots of love today, you guys.
One other quick thing regarding that Phase 4 mini grant. When you send over your application, please put in the subject line of your email Phase 4.
That would be very helpful.
Very, very helpful. Yes.
All right, that's our meeting. Thank you, everybody. Have a great afternoon. Enjoy this weather. Go outside and hug a tree.
Hi, everyone.
Bye.